For our sports feature this week, we'll be taking a look into life before we were the Beavers. Before the Beavers, we were the Coyotes. During the time of the Coyotes, our school colors were green and white. Sometime between 1916 and 1921, we switched from being the Coyotes to the Beavers. Earlier in the week, I talked with Stephanie Fisher at the museum to find out more information about how and why we became the Beavers.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Fisher, the director at El Cordileo Museum and Jerry Thomas Gallery and Collection. And Hannah asked me about where the beaver came from. And that's a very interesting question. We have lots of annuals that date back to 1910, and the 1910 ones are coyotes. And so that was an interesting thing to learn about when I started here. And the colors for the mascot, I guess you would say, even though nobody referred to themselves as that, were green and white. And we have a pennant that is green and white and for SCHS, and that's another interesting thing. So where did we get from green and white to blue and white to Columbia blue? So between 1910 and 1922, we have the Coyote annuals and newspapers published during those 9 months of school. And then we have a newspaper called The Hummer, which appears in 1916. Where the Hummer came from, we're not exactly sure on that name. And the format of it is very much like a regular newspaper, which is different from where they were on the Coyote. The Hummer does not have a annual or yearbook that comes with it. The Coyote had a general catalog or an annual every year that featured each of the students along with descriptions of their coursework and things like that. All of these newspapers from then up to the Hummer and then on to what became the Beaverette include information on the classes, the faculty, athletics, short stories, poems, editorials, notices, and lots of ads from around town. The people in town actually sponsored them. And it looks like they all came out on a monthly basis, except for the Hummer. We think that maybe it came out more than once a month. So how do we get from coyotes to beavers exactly? And that's just something that we're really guessing on. Our best guess is the change from coyote to beaver has something to do with the fact that a majority of the recreation in our county was centered around what is now the lake. Well, the creek that makes up the lake is called the Beaver Creek. And there was even a place called Beaver Beach where people spent a lot of time on Sunday afternoons. And so this was a place that I think is where they may have derived the mascot for the Beavers. And at some point we came to where we called it Beaver basketball, Beaver football, Beaver volleyball, and all of those things. So all of this took place, interestingly enough, where we find our current administrative building. In 1908, there was a 2-story building built next to where the administration building is, and that housed our high school and grade school. It grew to the point where they then added on and put the grade school in a separate building. And then in 1921, the administration building was added on. So since then, we've seen our educational system and our mascots evolve in a lot different way, along with our yearbooks and along with how we do journalism, which has changed from this format to the format you're now watching.
Thanks for letting me interview you, Stephanie. It's crazy how things have changed. Have a great weekend. For BBN News, I'm Hannah Faurot.